Chapter 1. The Midlife Crisis. Fact or fiction? Defining the midlife crisis. The midlife crisis is one of the most commonly discussed, yet widely misunderstood, concepts in modern culture. For decades, it has been portrayed as a universal, inevitable experience that occurs when individuals reach middle age. But is it truly an unavoidable phenomenon? Or has society simply constructed this idea to explain dissatisfaction or confusion? The midlife crisis is typically associated with the period between the ages of 40 and 60, a time when many individuals begin to assess their lives, reevaluating their choices, careers, relationships, and personal goals. For some, this assessment leads to feelings of regret, doubt, or confusion. They may wonder if they've achieved enough or if they've missed opportunities in life. At its core, the midlife crisis is not just about aging. It is about how individuals perceive themselves as they age and how their identity and sense of worth shift. As the years pass, time becomes a more pressing factor in decisions and actions, pushing people to reflect on their lives and how much of what they wanted to accomplish is still achievable. While some experience the midlife crisis as a deep, emotional crisis, others may simply view it as a time of reflection, a necessary part of aging that leads to a redefinition of life and its goals. In this chapter, we will explore the roots of the midlife crisis, how it has evolved in popular culture, and whether it is a legitimate phenomenon or just an excuse created by the pressures of modern life. The origins of the midlife crisis. The midlife crisis was first introduced to the public by Elia J., a Canadian psychoanalyst. In 1965, Jacques suggested that as people enter their 40s, they begin to experience a psychological disorder. He observed that this phase is often marked by feelings of regret about unfulfilled dreams, a fear of the future, and a growing realization that time is running out to accomplish certain goals. Jacques posited that this crisis could be triggered by changes in health, family dynamics, or career stagnation. Jacques' theory gained significant popularity in the late 1960s and 1970s, a period in which American society was beginning to question traditional values around success, family, and work. As the nation grappled with social change, the idea of the midlife crisis became a convenient explanation for individuals who found themselves dissatisfied with their lives at middle age. As society continued to evolve, particularly with the advent of media and advertising, the midlife crisis began to be seen in films, literature, and television. The midlife crisis was often portrayed as a dramatic moment where men and women, dissatisfied with their lives, acted impulsively, buying sports cars, having affairs, quitting their jobs, or embarking on other drastic changes in pursuit of youthful vigor. But is this midlife crisis truly an unavoidable life event, or is it simply a label given to natural life transitions? It's important to understand that while many people do experience a period of reflection during midlife, it does not always result in the chaotic, impulsive actions that media has portrayed. The cultural construction of the midlife crisis. The midlife crisis is often regarded as a cultural construct in America. From a young age, American culture teaches individuals to value youth. Youth is associated with vitality, success, and potential. As people age, they begin to notice the inevitable physical graying hair and a slowing metabolism, and these external signs can have an internal impact on how people see themselves. In a society that constantly rewards youth and the American dream, career success, financial wealth, and personal fulfillment, it's easy to understand why the midlife crisis became so widely accepted. As people approach middle age, they begin to feel like they haven't achieved enough, or that their time is running out to meet their goals. This sense of failure can spark feelings of frustration and confusion, leading people to question whether they've missed their chance at true happiness or success. For some, these feelings lead to a crisis. The pressure to be successful, happy, and fulfilled throughout life often reaches a breaking point in middle age. But does this make the midlife crisis a real phenomenon? Or does it reflect deeper societal insecurities? The answer is complex. Midlife crisis in popular culture. The stereotype versus reality. Movies, TV shows, and advertisements have shaped the modern understanding of the midlife crisis. From the classic image of the man buying a sports car to the trope of the woman getting a makeover or starting an affair, the midlife crisis has been molded by popular media. These portrayals are often exaggerated, showing midlife as a chaotic, impulsive phase where individuals throw away their previous lives in search of something more fulfilling. One of the most iconic portrayals of the midlife crisis in popular culture is the 1999 film American Beauty, where the main character, Lester Burnham, goes through an extreme midlife crisis. He quits his job, starts to pursue a relationship with a younger woman, and engages in behaviors that society often associates with the stereotypical midlife crisis. While this portrayal may be dramatic, it resonates because of its emotional undercurrent, the fear of aging, and the belief that time is running out to live the life one desires. The reality, however, is often less dramatic. While some individuals may experience dramatic life changes during midlife, for most, the midlife crisis is more about internal reflection and a reevaluation of priorities. In reality, middle age can be a time of growth, wisdom, and personal development rather than a chaotic period of rebellion. The midlife crisis, a cultural excuse for avoiding change. Is the midlife crisis really a crisis, or is it an excuse for people to avoid personal responsibility? In American society, where success is often linked to achievement, money, and status, it's easy to understand why some people might feel unfulfilled once they reach middle age. The fear of failure, combined with the pressure to maintain youth, can make midlife feel like a time of decline. But the truth is, the midlife crisis is more of a reaction to societal pressure than an inherent part of aging. In fact, many people who reach middle age embrace the changes that come with it and use it as a time to redefine their goals, develop new skills, and shift priorities. The term midlife crisis can often be a way to justify laziness or complacency. Instead of confronting the fear of failure or fear of change, some individuals may use the midlife crisis as a way to avoid addressing their underlying fears and challenges. This leads to poor decisions. Midlife crisis, a turning point, not a crisis. While the midlife crisis has been sensationalized in popular culture, it is not necessarily something to fear. In fact, midlife can be a time of opportunity, reinvention, and growth. Many individuals use this period to reflect on their life's journey and consider what they truly want from the future. For some, this might mean changing careers, restarting a relationship, or finding new hobbies. For others, it might mean simply embracing the natural process of aging and learning how to find fulfillment in new ways. In reality, the midlife crisis doesn't have to be about loss or failure. It can be a time for embracing change, taking risks, and exploring new possibilities. The key is to view midlife not as a crisis, but as an inevitable part of the journey of life, chance to redefine what success looks like, and how to find happiness as we age. Conclusion of Chapter 1. The Midlife Crisis. A cultural construct or a true crisis. In the end, the midlife crisis is a complicated concept. While it is a real phenomenon for some, it is often exacerbated by societal pressures and cultural expectations. For many, it is less about facing a dramatic crisis and more about navigating a time of reflection and personal growth. The midlife crisis is not an inevitable part of aging, but is, instead, a product of how society views aging and success. Rather than fearing the midlife crisis, we should embrace it as an opportunity to redefine ourselves, find new passions, and grow into the next phase of life. The midlife crisis, when understood correctly, is not a sign of failure. It's simply a turning point, a chance to make necessary changes that lead to greater fulfillment and personal development. Chapter 2. The Midlife Crisis in Men. A real struggle or just an excuse? The pressure to succeed and the fear of irrelevance in American culture. The definition of success for many men is often tied to their career, wealth, and societal status. From a young age, men are socialized to believe that their worth is directly connected to their professional accomplishments and ability to provide. The pressure to succeed and to stay on top can be immense, especially in a society that values youth and ambition. When men reach middle age and begin to feel that they have not met their professional expectations, it can lead to feelings of failure and even this fear of becoming irrelevant is a significant factor in the midlife crisis. As men approach their 40s and 50s, they often begin to confront the realization that they may have missed out on opportunities, or that their professional peak may be behind them. The American obsession with youthful energy and constant innovation can make men feel as though they no longer have the same level of potential or value. This can trigger feelings of anxiety, depression, and uncertainty about the future. The fear of irrelevance can manifest in various ways, including career dissatisfaction, personal disillusionment, and even impulsive decisions. The idea that middle-aged men are no longer able to compete with younger, more vibrant individuals can become a powerful source of stress, leading them to seek drastic ways to reaffirm their sense of self, whether it's through buying a sports car, changing careers, or pursuing a younger romantic partner. These behaviors often reflect an attempt to reclaim youth and reassert relevance in a society that values youth above all else. Physical changes and self-perception. One of the most significant challenges men face during the midlife transition is the physical changes that accompany aging. In a culture where youth and physical appearance are equated with success and vitality, the inevitable signs of aging can lead to a crisis of identity. Weight gain, hair loss, and declining energy levels can impact a man's self-esteem, especially when these changes are seen as signs of decline. The American cultural narrative surrounding aging often portrays it as a loss of beauty, strength, and vitality. The impact of this narrative on men can be profound. As they age, men may feel disconnected from their younger selves and may struggle to reconcile the physical changes they are experiencing with their mental image of who they are. This sense of discrepancy between the physical self and the internal self can lead to feelings of inadequacy and frustration. Furthermore, many men are conditioned to hide vulnerability. Men's health issues, particularly as they age, are often minimized or ignored, contributing to a lack of discussion about the emotional and physical challenges of aging. This can make it more difficult for men to address their feelings of insecurity, anxiety, or fear during midlife, making the midlife crisis seem even more overwhelming. The social pressure to maintain youth. American society, as obsession with youth and vitality creates intense pressure on men to maintain a youthful appearance and lifestyle. This obsession often leads to the expectation that men should be able to defy age and continue to be productive, energetic, and attractive well into their middle years. For many men, the desire to stay young is not just about aesthetics, but is tied to a deeper fear of becoming obsolete or losing value in a world that favors younger generations. As men age, they often feel the need to prove themselves to show that they are still capable of achieving great things. This pressure to remain youthful and relevant can lead to feelings of disillusionment. When those efforts don't result in the desired success, cosmetic procedures, fitness regimens, and luxury purchases like sports cars are often used as external markers to signal to the world that a man has not lost his touch. However, while some may find that these actions provide a temporary sense of relief, they often mask a deeper fear, the fear that they are losing something essential about themselves. The midlife crisis becomes a way of asserting control over something that feels uncontrollable. Aging, career challenges, and identity crisis. For many men, their career is at the center of their identity. From early adulthood, men are often taught to work hard, climb the corporate ladder, and become successful professionals. A career is not just a job, it's an essential part of who they are. But when they reach middle age, many men begin to question whether their professional life has been fulfilling. This questioning is particularly acute for men who may feel that they have peaked professionally, or that their career prospects are limited by age. This realization can bring about a midlife career crisis in which men feel compelled to make drastic changes in their professional lives. Some may decide to quit their jobs, others may change careers entirely, and still others may decide to pursue a dream job they've always wanted but never had the courage to chase. However, these career changes can be fraught with risks and can cause additional stress. The fear of financial instability, failure, and the possibility of starting over can prevent many men from making the changes they feel are necessary for their happiness. For some, the midlife crisis is an opportunity to make a fresh start in a new field or to pursue entrepreneurial dreams that had been put on hold for years. Others may feel stuck in their current profession, unable or unwilling to pivot because they spent so much time building their professional identity around a particular career. The fear of losing control. As men reach middle age, they often feel that their lives are beginning to spiral out of their control. Family dynamics, career transitions, physical changes, and the pressure to remain relevant all contribute to this feeling of losing control. The midlife crisis, for many men, is a way to regain control, to make dramatic decisions or impulsive changes that they hope will bring back a sense of purpose or direction. In this context, the midlife crisis becomes a search for a way to reconnect with personal aspirations and dreams that may have been abandoned or ignored in the earlier years. However, this pursuit often comes at a cost. Impulsive decisions can strain relationships, damage reputations, and result in financial instability. Men who experience a midlife crisis may make decisions that seem out of character, buying expensive items, quitting jobs, or pursuing relationships that are inconsistent with their values or goals. These behaviors often stem from a desire to assert control over their circumstances, but they can lead to negative consequences if not carefully considered. Conclusion of Chapter 2. The midlife crisis in men. A real struggle or just an excuse? The midlife crisis in men is real for many. It is a struggle that is fueled by societal pressures, personal dissatisfaction, and the fear of aging. However, while it's easy to dismiss the midlife crisis as an excuse for laziness or the emotional and psychological factors behind it should not be underestimated. Men who face the midlife crisis are often confronting a mix of career dissatisfaction, fear of irrelevance, physical changes, and the societal expectation to remain youthful and successful. These pressures can create a sense of panic and uncertainty, which often manifests as impulsive decisions or significant life changes. However, the midlife crisis doesn't have to be a decline. It can be a period of reinvention, growth, and empowerment. By confronting the fears and societal pressures that contribute to the crisis, men can embrace aging, rediscover their passions, and redefine their goals in a way that aligns with their evolving sense of self. Men experiencing a midlife crisis should focus on self-reflection and personal growth, rather than seeking external validation through drastic life changes. By taking ownership of their transformation, men can find greater purpose and satisfaction in their lives. Chapter 3. The Midlife Crisis in Women. A different experience, but just as valid. The role of motherhood in midlife for many women. the experience of midlife is fundamentally shaped by their role as mothers. In American culture, motherhood is often seen as the defining feature of a woman's identity. From the moment a woman becomes a mother, she is not only expected to fulfill the physical, emotional, and financial needs of her children, but also to give of herself entirely. As a result, much of a woman's self-worth and purpose are tied to this role. However, when children leave home, the situation changes. The transition to empty nest syndrome, a time when children become adults and move out, can be incredibly challenging. Many women experience a profound sense of loss or identity crisis when they realize that the role of being a mother no longer dominates their life. The absence of children at home often leaves a woman feeling like she's lost her purpose. No longer being needed by her children can make women question what they've had done for themselves and whether they still matter outside of their maternal responsibilities. This is especially significant in American culture, where women are often socialized to believe that their primary identity is wrapped up in the role of a mother. At the same time, the societal expectations placed on women, especially to be constantly nurturing and self-sacrificing, can struggling with feelings of emptiness once the children have grown up and become independent. For many women, the midlife crisis is marked by the question, who am I now? The empty nest syndrome, a time for rediscovery or regret. The empty nest syndrome can be both a challenge and an opportunity. While many women experience deep sadness, grief, and feelings of loss when their children leave home, others see it as a chance to rediscover themselves. The midlife years offer an opportunity to reclaim individuality, to reconnect with personal passions, and to start new chapters in life. However, for many women, this process of rediscovery can be complicated by feelings of guilt or regret. The challenge is often about finding a new identity, separate from the role of mother, partner, or caregiver. For women who have spent much of their adult lives focusing on their children and family, this can feel like a lost sense of self. But midlife can also be a time to reevaluate values, explore new passions, and set new goals. In American culture, there is often a hidden expectation that women should be constantly fulfilled, and once their children are grown, they are expected to quickly transition into new, purposeful roles. However, this can feel overwhelming. Many women find that midlife is a time of mourning the loss of what was, while also feeling guilt for desiring something for themselves. As women approach midlife, they may ask themselves questions like, what do I want for my life now? Who am I beyond being a mother? What is my true purpose? Menopause, hormonal shifts, and the quest for identity, in addition to the changes in family dynamics. Menopause plays a significant role in the midlife experience for women. Menopause is a natural biological process that marks the end of a woman's reproductive years, typically occurring between the ages of 45 and 55. It involves a significant drop in the production of estrogen and other hormones, leading to physical and emotional changes. Common symptoms of menopause include hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings, sleep disturbances, and weight gain. These changes can take a physical and psychological toll on women. Hormonal fluctuations can affect mood, leading to feelings of irritability, depression, or anxiety. Many women experience a deep sense of disconnection from their former selves, especially if they associate their identity with their fertility and youthful vitality. This loss of fertility often symbolizes a loss of femininity in American culture. The cultural glorification of youth and beauty means that women often feel invisible and irrelevant as they go through menopause. Women are frequently bombarded with messages from the media telling them to look younger and stay youthful, which can add pressure to a time when they are already experiencing significant change. However, menopause can also be a time of empowerment. For some women, it's an opportunity to stop focusing on physical appearance and embrace their wisdom, experience, and inner strength. Many women find that after menopause, they are more confident and willing to prioritize their own needs. This is the time to reclaim a new identity, one that's not tied to youth or motherhood, but rather to personal growth, empowerment, and the freedom to live on their own terms. The search for identity and purpose after menopause and midlife. Women often face the challenge of redefining themselves as they navigate the emotional and physical changes of aging. Unlike men, who are often socialized to prioritize professional success and ambition, women's identity is frequently shaped by their relationships, particularly as mothers and wives. When children leave home and the physical changes of menopause set in, many women begin to wonder, who am I now? What is my purpose beyond being a mother or wife? The emotional weight of these changes can lead women to question their value and identity. The pressure to stay youthful, attractive, and relevant can cause a woman to feel isolated and invisible. Yet, this stage in life can also bring newfound freedom and clarity. Midlife offers women the opportunity to explore their own desires, to reconnect with old passions, and to embrace a new chapter. Many women experience personal reinvention during this period. They may go back to school, pursue new careers, or travel to places they always dreamed of. They may also find joy in self-care practices such as yoga, meditation, or creative hobbies like painting or writing. The transition to midlife offers an opportunity to rediscover what truly makes women feel fulfilled. The impact of societal expectations on women's midlife crisis. The pressure to remain youthful and attractive continues to affect women, even as they reach middle age. In American culture, where beauty and youth are often considered synonymous with value, women are taught to constantly maintain a youthful appearance and demeanor. When these physical changes occur, it is easy to feel as if their worth diminishes. Furthermore, women are frequently expected to maintain their role as the nurturer, even in midlife. They are often expected to care for elderly parents, stay youthful for their partners, and still be the perfect mother. These expectations can lead to feelings of guilt and confusion when women feel they need to focus on themselves or explore new personal goals. While women in their midlife years are often given permission to reinvent themselves, they still feel the weight of societal norms and expectations about beauty and success. The challenge of overcoming these pressures and embracing aging with grace, wisdom, and self-respect is a pivotal part of the midlife transition for women. Personal stories and case studies. Case Study 1. Sarah's journey to rediscovery. Sarah, a 52-year-old woman from California, always defined herself by her role as a mother and wife. Her life revolved around raising her 3 children and supporting her husband's career. When her children left for college, Sarah suddenly found herself faced with an empty house and a sense of loss. She realized that for years, her identity had been entirely shaped by her family, and now she was left wondering, what comes next? This was when Sarah decided to go back to school to pursue her lifelong passion for graphic design. She also began to travel the world, something she had always wanted to do but had never had the chance to. Today, Sarah runs her own successful freelance design business and feels more fulfilled than ever. The process of redefining her purpose after midlife allowed her to regain a sense of independence and personal achievement. Case Study 2. Linda's story of releasing the past. Linda, a 47-year-old woman from New York, had spent her entire life trying to meet the expectations of others. From a young age, she was taught that her success would be tied to her appearance and ability to conform to societal standards. As she entered midlife, Linda struggled with feelings of invisibility. After experiencing a significant health scare, Linda decided to make a change. She stopped chasing external validation and began practicing self-care, both physically and emotionally. Linda enrolled in a wellness program, began focusing on her health, and took up volunteering to help others. Today, Linda is content and feels like she's finally living on her own terms, not according to the expectations of others. Overcoming the midlife crisis in women. Overcoming the midlife crisis requires women to reclaim their sense of self, redefine their priorities, and make conscious choices that align with their values. This chapter will provide actionable strategies to help women navigate midlife with confidence. Self-care, taking time to nurture your mind and body. Reflection, understanding what truly matters in life and creating a vision for the future. Pursuing new goals, whether it's starting a new career, learning something new, or traveling, midlife offers endless opportunities for building new relationships. Midlife can be a time to strengthen existing friendships and build meaningful new ones. Conclusion of Chapter 3. The midlife crisis in women. The midlife crisis in women is often rooted in the complex intersection of family dynamics, societal pressures, and personal changes. While the experience is undeniably challenging, it can also be a catalyst for transformation. By embracing change and focusing on personal growth, women can turn midlife into an opportunity for redefinition and empowerment. Chapter 4. The Midlife Crisis in Relationships. Navigating love, family, and friendships. The impact of aging on relationships. One of the most significant aspects of the midlife crisis is its impact on relationships, be it with a spouse, children, friends, or even extended family. As individuals navigate the changes associated with aging, they often find that their relationships also begin to shift. This is particularly true when both individuals in a partnership face the midlife transition, as they are not only confronted with their personal changes, but also with the evolving dynamics of their relationship. For many, middle age brings people start to ask fundamental questions. Is this the life I wanted? Am I happy with my relationship? These questions can lead to both positive growth and challenging realizations. Some couples grow closer as they embark on new shared experiences, while others may feel the growing distance that often accompanies the awareness of aging and the passage of time. When children leave the home, parents must navigate a new dynamic, one that no longer revolves around the daily tasks of raising children. This can bring both a sense of freedom and loss, and it forces couples to look inward, to examine the relationship without the distraction of child-rearing responsibilities. Marriage and intimacy. What happens when the kids are gone? For many couples, the empty nest syndrome is a key factor in the midlife crisis. Once children leave the home, couples who have spent decades raising their children may be forced to redefine their relationship. Without children to focus on, spouses often find themselves facing the uncomfortable reality of rediscovering each other and themselves. The years spent raising children can sometimes mean that romantic intimacy takes a back seat. Parents often become so wrapped up in the day-to-day responsibilities of raising kids, managing careers, and juggling life's stresses that their relationship with their spouse may deteriorate. As a result, when children leave, some couples are left to face the reality that their relationship has drifted. This reawakening, often triggered by the departure of the children, can be both exciting and overwhelming. On the one hand, couples now have the opportunity to rediscover each other, pursue activities they enjoy together, and rekindle their romance. On the other hand, this shift may bring discomfort, as individuals may have changed in ways that their partner doesn't recognize. The fear of losing intimacy for many. The fear of losing intimacy becomes even more significant as the midlife crisis takes hold. As physical attraction changes with aging, couples may feel like their emotional or physical bond is weakening. For women, menopause and the physical changes that accompany it can affect libido and sexual confidence, while for men, aging may come with challenges like erectile dysfunction and reduced energy levels. These physical changes can lead to feelings of insecurity or embarrassment, making it harder to stay connected. The reality is that intimacy in a relationship is not solely based on physical attraction. It also stems from emotional and intellectual connections. Midlife presents an opportunity for couples to strengthen emotional intimacy by rediscovering their shared interests, values, and goals. For some couples, this may also be a time to address unresolved issues that were pushed aside during the years of raising children or advancing careers. The midlife crisis can push couples to confront aspects of their relationship they've avoided, allowing for healing and renewal, divorce and separation. When the relationship no longer feels fulfilling, another prevalent phenomenon during midlife is the decision to end a relationship. Many individuals find themselves at a crossroads in their marriages and relationships, deciding whether to continue together or to pursue separate lives. Divorce rates in the United States are particularly high for individuals over the age of 50. With this demographic experiencing an increase in what's called the gray divorce phenomenon, there are several factors that contribute to midlife divorce. Emotional disconnect. As individuals go through midlife, they often become more aware of the emotional distance that has developed over the years. They may feel that the partnership is no longer fulfilling, especially if they've drifted apart emotionally and intellectually. Personal growth and change. The midlife crisis often brings with it an intense desire for self-discovery and personal growth. This personal transformation can lead individuals to outgrow the roles they have played in their relationships, especially if the relationship no longer aligns with their evolving goals and values. Reassessment of life goals. Midlife is a time when individuals often reassess what they want out of life. If a marriage is no longer serving their personal aspirations, some may choose to separate in order to pursue new opportunities, whether in their careers, relationships, or personal endeavors. However, midlife divorce is not necessarily a negative outcome. While the end of a long-term relationship can be incredibly painful, it can also mark the beginning of a new phase of life. Many individuals who experience midlife divorce report feeling empowered and free to explore new avenues, engage in personal growth, and even form new, healthier relationships in the future. Case study. James and Claire's divorce. James and Claire had been married for 28 years, and they had raised 2 children who were now adults. As their children moved out and started their own lives, James and Claire began to notice a growing distance between them. They had spent years focusing on their children's needs and their careers. But now, without those distractions, they realized they had drifted apart. The spark in their relationship had long since faded, and both felt unfulfilled. James, who had always placed his identity in his job and family, began to feel that he had missed out on his own personal aspirations. Claire, after years of putting everyone else first, began to feel like she had neglected her own goals and dreams. After months of difficult conversations, James and Claire decided to part ways. Their divorce was painful, but it allowed them both the chance to rediscover themselves. James started a new business, one he had always dreamed of, but never had the courage to pursue. Claire went back to school to finish her degree and began traveling the world. Their separation, though difficult, ultimately became a catalyst for both to live more fulfilling lives. The need for new relationships and friendships, in addition to navigating the complexities of romantic relationships. Individuals experiencing a midlife crisis often find that their friendships also undergo significant changes. As people age, their social networks evolve, often leaving them feeling disconnected from old friends or struggling to form new connections. For many people in midlife, friendships become an essential part of maintaining emotional health and well-being. However, making new friends can be more challenging as we age, especially when life is already filled with the demands of family, work, and personal responsibilities. The midlife crisis often signals a desire for deeper, more meaningful relationships that reflect one's evolving identity and values. Midlife provides an opportunity to build new social circles that foster growth, support, and authentic connection. Friendships at this stage are often less about superficial interactions and more about shared experiences, honesty, and emotional support. As a result, many people in midlife find that their friendships become more fulfilling and rewarding. Building new relationships. The role of self-reflection during the midlife crisis, relationships, romantic and platonic, become a central focus. As individuals reflect on their lives, they often realize that some relationships may have outlived their purpose, while others may need to be nurtured and deepened. The crisis often forces individuals to reassess the quality of their relationships, rather than just the quantity. As a result, midlife is a great time for individuals to form new bonds, whether by reconnecting with old friends or seeking new social circles that align more closely with their changing values. Conclusion of Chapter 4. The Midlife Crisis in Relationships. A time for The midlife crisis, especially in relationships, can be a challenging but ultimately transformative experience. While the empty nest syndrome and fear of loss are real factors in the relationship changes during midlife, these challenges also provide an opportunity for reinvention and renewal. For couples, midlife is a time to reassess their connection and intimacy, to rediscover each other, and to redefine what their relationship means in the next phase of life. For individuals, midlife offers a chance to form new relationships that reflect personal growth and authenticity. The midlife crisis in relationships is not just about dissolution, it's about evolution. Midlife is a period of emotional growth where people can build meaningful connections, heal past wounds, and create relationships that foster long-term fulfillment and happiness. Chapter 5. Overcoming the Midlife Crisis. How to turn it into an opportunity for reframing the midlife crisis. Turning crisis into opportunity, the midlife crisis. The uncertainty and the emotional turmoil is often portrayed as a moment of deep decline. But what if we could view this so-called crisis not as a breakdown, but as an opportunity for growth, reinvention, and empowerment? The truth is, midlife doesn't have to be a time of dissatisfaction and regret. Instead, it can be a time to embrace change, redefine priorities, and ultimately thrive. In a society that constantly focuses on youth and success, the idea of facing midlife can feel overwhelming. But rather than fearing the changes that come with aging, we should focus on embracing them. This chapter is about reframing the midlife crisis as a new beginning, a chance to reclaim your life on your own terms. What if the midlife crisis is not a personal failure, but an invitation to transform your life in ways you never thought possible? This chapter is dedicated to helping you shift your mindset, embrace the changes you're going through, and use them as a catalyst for personal evolution. Step 1. Changing your mindset. Moving from crisis to empowerment. The first step in overcoming the midlife crisis is to change your mindset. Instead of seeing midlife as a decline, view it as an opportunity to reinvent yourself. The emotional upheaval you feel might be more about reassessment than crisis. You've worked hard to get to this point in life, but now it's time to reflect on whether you're still heading in the right direction. Start by asking yourself key questions that will help you take control of your journey. For example, what do I want my life to look like in the next 10 to 20 years? What am I passionate about that I've neglected? What am I willing to change or let go of to feel more fulfilled? Shifting from a mindset of fear to one of empowerment is the key to transforming your midlife experience. You are not helpless. You are capable of creating the life you want. Personal growth is a lifelong journey, and midlife is the perfect time to revitalize that journey with new goals, passions, and possibilities. Step 2. Embrace change. Accepting aging and moving forward. Aging is an inevitable process, but how you accept and adapt to it is up to you. Society often reinforces the idea that aging is synonymous with decline, but this couldn't be further from the truth. With age comes wisdom, experience, and clarity, assets that are invaluable in today's world. It is easy to get caught up in physical appearance and compare ourselves to younger versions of who we were or to societal standards of youth and beauty. But the truth is, as we age, we have the opportunity to cultivate inner beauty, mental clarity, and emotional strength. For many, the fear of aging is tied to an internalized belief that success and vitality should always look the same: youthful, energetic, and physically strong. But that view limits growth. When you embrace aging as a natural part of life, you allow yourself to experience the freedom of letting go of the expectations that society places on you. Start by adopting these positive mindsets about aging. I am not losing anything. I am gaining new experiences. I have accumulated wisdom and skills that make me a stronger, more capable person. I can continue to evolve, grow, and learn at any age. Aging doesn't take away your potential. Instead, it transforms it. When you accept aging, you open the door to more fulfilling experiences and the ability to thrive despite the passage of time. Step 3. Reconnect with your passions. Rediscovering yourself. Midlife is the perfect time to reconnect with the passions and dreams you may have set aside along the way. Over the years, life may have pushed your personal desires to the back burner in favor of career obligations, family responsibilities, or the pressures of everyday life. But now is the time to reclaim those passions, whether they're related to creativity, travel, education, or personal growth. Ask yourself, what did I once love doing? What hobbies or dreams have I neglected? What's something I've always wanted to try but never had the chance to? Reconnecting with your passions is an incredible way to reframe your midlife crisis. Whether it's taking up a new hobby, pursuing a career you've always dreamed of, or traveling to places you've never been, midlife offers you a fresh opportunity to discover new passions. Many people report that pursuing new interests during midlife brings a sense of fulfillment and joy that they never experienced before. It's a time of rediscovery, where you get to explore new facets of who you are and create a life that feels authentic. For instance, if you've always wanted to learn a musical instrument, paint, or start a blog, this is the perfect time to dive into those activities. When you give yourself the freedom to embrace your passions, you'll not only rekindle your creativity, but also find new energy for life. Step 4. Take action. Setting new goals and pushing yourself a midlife crisis can feel overwhelming when you don't know where to start or what direction to take. But instead of letting the fear of failure or the anxiety about aging prevent you from taking action, it's time to make a plan and take concrete steps toward new goals. Goal setting during midlife is essential for moving forward. These goals might look different than they did in your younger years, and that's okay. The point is to set goals that are meaningful to you. For example, do you want to change careers? Would you like to travel the world and experience new cultures? Are you interested in learning a new language or taking up an academic course? Perhaps you want to focus on health and fitness or make lifestyle changes that bring more joy. The key is to embrace change and view it as a necessary part of your journey. Don't be afraid to take risks. Life in midlife offers a unique opportunity to push yourself beyond your comfort zone and to develop new skills. Step 5. Building a support system. Navigating the crisis with others. While personal growth and self-reflection are essential during midlife, you don't have to go through it alone. Building a strong support system is crucial during this time of transition. Whether it's friends, family, mentors, or even a professional therapist or coach, surrounding yourself with people who understand and encourage your personal growth can make all the difference. Having a strong support system allows you to gain perspective when you feel stuck or unsure about your next steps. Share your goals and get encouragement from those who care about your well-being. Vent your frustrations and find solutions to problems with the help of others. Create a network of like-minded individuals who inspire and challenge you to do better. Consider joining groups, clubs, or communities that focus on your interests. Whether it's a fitness group, a book club, a travel group, or an entrepreneurial community, the connections you make during midlife can be some of the most fulfilling and rewarding relationships you form. Turning the midlife crisis into a positive turning point. The midlife crisis doesn't have to be a negative experience. It's natural to feel uncertain about the future, but it is also important to embrace the process and see it as a time to refocus and reinvent. The midlife crisis can be a catalyst for positive change if you take control and use it to reshape your future. Midlife is not a time to give up. It's a time to start over, to set new goals, to rediscover passions, and to grow stronger as an individual. By adopting a mindset of empowerment, you can transform the midlife crisis into an opportunity for personal fulfillment. Conclusion: the midlife crisis, not a crisis, but a rebirth. Rather than seeing the midlife crisis as an inevitable moment of despair, we should embrace it as a rebirth. This period of reflection and change is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter in life. Midlife offers the opportunity to take risks, explore new opportunities, and rediscover purpose. You are not defined by the years that have passed, but by the choices you make going forward. The midlife crisis is just that, a crisis of opportunity, a time to break free from societal expectations. Discover new passions and live life on your own terms. Don't wait for a crisis to define you. Take action now and transform your midlife journey into a period of growth, empowerment, and renewal. Embrace the challenges, the changes, and the new possibilities that await you. Final thoughts. The midlife crisis doesn't have to be a period of decline or disappointment. It can be a time of reinvention, growth, and a fresh outlook on life. By embracing aging, setting new goals, and seeking personal fulfillment, you can navigate midlife with purpose and joy. Embrace the opportunity, reframe the crisis, and redefine your future.